Hello, good morning or good afternoon. Welcome to the Huawei series of webinars. In this particular webinar, we'll be talking about the Agile Campus. Before we talk about the complete solution on the Agile Campus, we will actually have an analyst who will be talking on the agility and why we need an Agile Campus. Then we'll talk about the Agile Campus solution in detail. Love to show you something what we call Agile Demo Box after the solution, and really tells you how you can really, our partners, our sales people can show the whole features of the Agile Campus in a box actually, and that will be followed by the questions and answers at the very end. So it's my great privilege. My name is AJ Gupta and happy to welcome you to the Agile Campus webinar. So let's talk about the Agile Campus in this webinar. What we're going to cover in this webinar are basically talk about the trends and challenges, present to you the campus solution, what Agile Campus really means to you, talk about the different products in the portfolio, and we're going to end the webinar with the success stories that Huawei's Agile Campus has brought to multiple of our enterprise customers. You're welcome to actually submit your Q&A online, and we will try to answer as many questions as possible within the time allocated. So let's look at what's happening in the network today. As you know, there are the inflection points of cloud mobility, this thing what we call the consumerization of IT, and this mobilization of IT and the distribution of IT are causing major headaches for our CIOs and for the CEOs of our enterprise customers. As people try to move from CapEx into OpEx, OpEx has really become a major challenge here. The CapEx spend on the enterprise networks is actually CapEx spend on the enterprise networks is moving into OpEx. I'm going to give you a case study on Huawei that was done last year on the Huawei IT. One headquarters with 400 plus branches globally. You can see the three phases of planning, deployment, and operation and maintenance. In the planning phases, you need 840 man days, and see how much time does it take for deployment and the operation and maintenance. That's a major headaches for any CIO of the enterprise. So there is a decentralized management. There are multiple nodes scattered all over the place. There are multiple disparate networks that need to be managed. People were still doing CLI-based, IP addresses-based control. Lots of manual configuration. It's not been automated yet. Major headaches actually. So how we solve that problem going forward? How do we take care of really reducing some of these OpEx expenses that's causing big heartburn in the CIOs? Is we have launched our Agile Campus solution from Huawei a couple of years ago. And it really helps to change from this manual into the automated world, and really helps you to adopt some of these inflection points much faster. And let's look at it here. There are three changes it brings to the campus. As you can see here, in the past, there was two different networks, wired and wireless. Why do you need two different networks? Why can't we manage everything, both wired and wireless, into one network going forward? Why can't we really maintain through a centralized configuration as opposed to maintaining each and every network separately? Can we move into the user groups? So Huawei's Agile Campus really brings those changes from a decentralized to a centralized mode, bringing all the different networks into a single network, and really takes us away from the MAC addresses and IP addresses into the realm of the user actually. Let's see what the Agile Campus actually consists of. So there are three major parts of Huawei's Agile Campus. Obviously, the heart of the network, so to say, is the Agile controller. Agile controller really brings that centralized configuration, the centralization into the whole network, helps you do the dynamic allocation of different resources, whether you're talking network resources or you're talking security resources. At the end of the day, we want that policy updates, the synchronization of policies to be automated. That's the major function that Agile controller brings to the table. The second main part of our Agile networks is Agile Switch. This is the fully programmable switch that Huawei launched, all the way from the physical layer to the application layer. It's based on the Huawei innovation on something what we call ENP, Ethernet Network Processor, actually, that came out of the Huawei High Silicon Labs, used as the main chip in the Agile switching, bringing you the complete programmability. And at the fundamental, at the infrastructure layer, at the bottom is what we call a complete Wi-Fi. And when I say talk about Wi-Fi, I'm actually talking of Wi-Fi and the IoT network convergence at the third layer. Key to note here, which I would really like to say here, is Huawei recently also launched a 10 gig Wi-Fi, really Huawei being the first company to take us into the 10 gig when it comes to Wi-Fi. All right, now you have seen what the Agile Campus consists of. So let's really delve deeper into the Agile Campus and really show you some of the highlights of the Agile Campus. The very first feature we'd like to talk about is what we call free mobility. Free mobility actually decouples the IP addresses from the user group. We really bring this concept of VXLAN and bring you what we call the unified virtual fabric. So to put it in the simple terms, we bring you a natural language policy creation, extremely important. Now you're not configuring the IP addresses, you're actually configuring the user groups, making it much more simplified administration actually. And the third thing you're doing here is this thing what we call the automated policy deployment using the Agile controller. So I'll give you an example here in one of the higher education universities, pretty big university here. You can see the number of students almost go in the range of 20,000 plus here. The amount of time you can save here, for example, from the account creation to the policy delivery and deployment of that policy is tremendous here. For example, here in the policy delivery, if you're using the traditional campus in the older days, it might take as many as up to 6 man days. But now, using the Agile Campus, you can do it in 30 minutes. That's a tremendous OpEx saving when you're really calculating and when the CIOs are really saving every penny of their budget here. Let's go on to the next feature on the free mobility here. So let's continue talking about free mobility. The second advantage of, as part of the free mobility is what we call the policy migration. What I'm trying to say here is, instead of configuring the different IP addresses, now you can configure a user group and assign the policy to a user group as opposed to assigning a policy to each and every IP address actually. There are multiple authentication methods that can be used in different scenarios here. As you can see here, the centralized authentication is done on the core switch here, at the ENP card, at the core switch. It also helps you in simplifying the configuration management, and I talked about the unified virtual fabric, brings you that additional layer of refined in terms of you're not going into the nitty-gritty of the IP addresses and MAC addresses, but you're talking at the level of users and assigning permission to the different user groups. ultimately the goal here is to save our TCO and really bring the ROI from a CIO perspective here. The third thing which I would like to point out from a free mobility point of view is this consistent experience. From an Agile Campus point of view, we want to make sure no matter where the user is, whether he's accessing the network remotely, whether he's accessing the network from an HQ, whether he's accessing the network from a branch point of view, he gets the same privileges, he gets the same bandwidth, he gets the same experience. Extremely important. You can be sitting in a branch or in headquarters in Shenzhen, China. You could be sitting in a branch office, let's say in Silicon Valley in California. It doesn't matter. The same experience from a policy point of view. That's the advantage that Agile Campus brings it to you. Let's look at the second one. Next feature here, what we call wired and wireless convergence. As you pretty well know, in the traditional campus, there are two different networks. Wireless network is an overlay on top of the wired network. Why do we have to maintain two networks? Why can't we converge the two networks into as part of this as a single network? And that's exactly what the Agile Campus brings here. It's one network to be managed here. Both the wired and wireless are all configured as a single box into one device. By managing that device, it gives you the savings of OpEx as Huawei calculated based on the example of this education university. We can almost save around 69% here. Look at the number of man-day savings here. Overall, from a planning, implementation, and O&M point of view, you can see on the right-hand side here, planning saves you like 25 man-days, implementation, deployment, automatic orchestration of the network using the Agile Campus brings you a saving almost 52. It may not sound too big, but when you calculate the cost of a single personnel combined with the savings can be really tremendous from a business point of view. Let's talk about something which we are very proud of as part of the wired and wireless convergence, what we call IPCA, Packet Conservation Algorithm for Internet. Again, a Huawei innovation as part of the Agile Campus. In the past, if you remember, in the traditional campus, you're doing the FIC and the FAT WLAN architecture. But there is a problem. You have to have an access controller, you have to have an access point there. What we have done by what we call native AC, we bring the access controller into our core switch here. What it means is you can actually establish a CAPAP channel from the switch directly to the access point there. This particular card or line card within this Agile switch can be manually configured in two different modes. It can be a native AC, or it can be actually used as a wired or wireless port actually. So look at the savings here. You're saving on the access controller. There is no access controller because the tunnel goes directly to the access point, or the port is being saved because you can use it either as a native access controller or you can use it for the accessing the wired and wireless ports. Compared to some of the independent access controller, you can see the performance of the native AC within the switch really speaks for itself. 4 terabits versus 40 gigabits forwarding performance, that you can go up to the range of almost 6,000 versus 1,000 APs that you can manage into a single switch. And obviously the number of the user group savings is huge as well. The next feature I would like to talk about as part of the converged management or wired and wireless convergence is what we call super virtual fabric. As I said, one of the biggest advantage is OpEx savings. How we do that? This particular feature adds a lot when it comes to the OpEx savings here. What it really means is you can actually use this SVF feature to virtualize the access controllers as the ports on the core switch. You can virtualize the access switches as the line cards within our core Agile switch here. So look at here, before we virtualize it, the whole network was looking like here, multiple nodes, different switches, all connected to a core switch here. After we use the SVF, and the network becomes so simple here. One device to manage. Isn't that great? Just managing one device. It's really simplifying the whole configuration, management, and even the deployments. Your access points become zero touch, which means you don't even have to do anything with the access points. You want to update, you want to change configuration, you want to update any of the software licenses, all can be done at the click of a button on the Agile switch here. This is another major innovation as part of the Agile Campus. IPCA stands for Packet Conservation Algorithm for Internet. What it really means is networks are becoming self-healing. Look in the past here. You only get to know the problems after the problem has happened. It's too late. Wouldn't it be nice if the network can let you know, hey, something is going wrong with me, and please take care of it. And that's exactly the goal of what IPCA does to you actually. You can locate the problem. You can actually do the quality awareness. If the network is having problems, it can let the system administrator, or I should say network administrator, know in advance. The beauty of IPCA is we are not injecting any additional traffic onto the network here. We use some of the unused bits in the packet, and then the magic is done with our ENP switches, ENP chips actually, and they get colored based on the quality of the problem in the network here. So let's look at the different scenarios of the quality and how we measure, how we do this troubleshooting here. You can actually do the troubleshooting on a single box, on a single equipment. You can actually do and use this IPCA on the link between the two switches. You can actually do the network-wide quality monitoring, how we're doing in terms of QoS, etc. But the best scenario I'm going to point out here is what we call end-to-end monitoring. You have two phones from Huawei and as two endpoints. So using the IPCA, you can actually measure the quality end-to-end. And one thing I would like to point out here is you can have a heterogeneous network, which means you can have a different vendors other than Huawei as part of that end-to-end. As long as the two endpoints are Huawei, we can still measure that quality. Isn't that great that now you can mix and match different networks? You're not tied to a particular proprietary network from a single vendor. So that's the beauty of what we bring using IPCA here. Let's switch gears here. Okay, you're seeing the switching part of it. I want to take you to the Wi-Fi into the WLAN world. As you look in the wireless LAN world, there are a couple of problems that the user encounter on a regular basis. If you're sitting in a high density, let's say external outdoor, maybe a stadium or something, the major problem that happens is connection failure. You have to run one corner to another corner to third corner, trying to find where your signal is the best. Huawei's all Wi-Fi infrastructure layer really kind of helps you solve that problem using some of those innovative features, what we call beamforming and smart antenna. This narrow angle, can you see here? This narrow angle antenna, some of them are integrated within the AP itself, providing you a omnidirectional coverage, which used to be the case in the traditional Wi-Fi, but with the directed antenna, we know where the users are and we can direct the beam directly onto that user. The case in point is the bird's nest. If you are familiar, this is where the 2008 Olympics were held in China, in Beijing. There are 80,000 users, and Huawei's all Wi-Fi as part of the Agile Campus brought that consistent experience that I talked in the wired world. Second problem sometimes you feel is indoor actually. You have an indoor conferences, auditoriums, hospitals. You have to install one AP in 4 different rooms. The problem, or maybe one central AP in the corridor, but the problem is as the signal travels through the wall, it diminishes, it attenuates actually. So how do you take care of that problem? And what we have done as part of the Agile Campus is we brought something what we call this Agile distributed architecture, where we separated the radio function from the data forwarding function. So instead of having one AP for 4 different rooms, you can actually put one central AP and then put the radio unit in the 4 different rooms. So the signal strength goes up a much higher compared to the traditional architecture. The case in point, the case is in Greece, which is almost 202 rooms. So the savings are not just for the vendor, because now we are using less number of access points, but also in terms of management, the number of management nodes go down tremendously. And the third major feature I like to point out here is this convergence between Wi-Fi and IoT here. Huawei's access points have these slots, the built-in slots for Bluetooth, Zigbee, RFID. Just as we were managing multiple networks for wired and wireless, there was no need to do that. Then now, why do we need to manage a different network for IoT actually? As we start moving into the IoT world, wouldn't it be nice to merge the wired, wireless, and IoT all together into a single network? And that's exactly what we have done by bringing these slots within our access point that converges the IoT and the access network together. In fact, the solution was so innovative. Huawei was called out as a visionary in some of the research agencies, including Gartner. So really brings that value that our customers have been demanding from converging the different disparate networks into a single network. So I showed you the convergence of the IoT and the Wi-Fi networks. Let me show you some of the applications that comes as a result of this converged IoT and Wi-Fi networks here. On the bottom of the screen here, on the slide here, you can see there are 3 major applications. ESL, electronic shelf labeling, okay? The second one is what would be asset management using RFID, and the third one is from an energy efficient management point of view. So for example, you are in a conference room and you finish your meeting, you leave the room, the sensors would know that there is no one in the room, and it can actually dim the lights, it can bring down the curtains, it can switch out the air conditioner. So really kind of bringing you the savings that you're looking from an IoT point of view. This becomes really important as you start into deploying more and more of the IoT, and IoT is becoming more maturing in the coming days here. So let me put everything in perspective here. Again, based on the case study we have done earlier, you can see the bottom that refers to the traditional solution, and then the top we have our Agile Campus from planning, deployment, and from a maintenance point of view. You can easily see the amount of savings that you're getting here. You know that the job of the CIOs is to keep the lights on. So everything we can do to give them the OpEx savings goes a long way. It's not just about the OpEx savings itself. It really, Agile Campus take them into this world of mobility and cloud that's going on right now. So let's talk about the major products as part of the Agile Campus here. I really want to show you that Huawei has got a complete portfolio of end-to-end products here. Our star product that we launched, I think it's been 3 years now that we launched our Agile Switch 12,700 based on the ENP chip here. It comes in multiple form factors here, from the 4 slots to the 8 slots to the 10 slots and 12 slots here. You can see the switching capacity. There's 100 gigaports and 40 gigaport densities on that. The number of entries, the flip tables, the net stream, the amount of buffer, especially when you're doing the 4K videos. When you're doing AR and VR application, you need much higher buffer, which used to be like 8 megabits. Now it's going almost 1.5 gig actually. So this is the core product within the Agile solution, Agile Campus here, but then not to be left behind, there is a plethora of what we call the box switches or the fixed switches. The hottest product that you need to really look into is our 5720 L1, our gigabit access switches here. You can see there it comes in 4 different forms here. We only showed you the 3 forms. It's in the 8 or 24 or 32 and the 64 port configuration there. It has got a PoE plus in the 8 port version, and it can go almost from 30 watts if you need a higher wattages like 60 watts in the PoE plus. That's there in the bottom 5720 version of this product here. The next switch that you should look at when you're looking at the Agile Campus is our multi-gigabit switches actually. It also has got extended slots. You can see the different configuration from this multiple gigabit switches. The main thing is we bring the connectivity for 2.5 gig and 5 gig here, which is needed as you start moving into the access points that need that 2.5 or 5 gig. Look at the 10 gig switches on the 3rd column here. Again, different form factors here. And finally, I'm going to show you the 5730 SI that you need to look as you start deploying some of these box switches, fixed switches for your Agile Campus. These switches can be used as a core switch from a mid-size SMB point of view, but for a high-end enterprise, you need to start looking at the 12,700 as their core switch. Quickly show you some of the comparisons here with some of our competition here. I think the slide speaks for itself. You can see the number of 2.5 gig ports configuration. We have different 3 configurations available for 2.5 gig, while the competition has only 1 or 2 configurations there. The number of ARP table entries is quite high there. You can see MAC table is there. The main point I'm trying to say here is our box switches are not just better in the cost, they're a lot more cost effective, but there are some features that they excel when it comes to the competition there. Look at again, this is the competition for competitive comparison for 5730 SI there. Again, I will let the slides speak for themselves here. We're happy to provide more information. I totally encourage you to really do an in-house testing, do a bake-off just to know for yourself how Huawei switches, not just from a cost point of view, but really brings you that speeds and feeds, and it's part of the total solution when you start doing the Agile Campus, deploying the Agile Campus into your network. So better port capability, the scalability, and I talked about the VXLAN feature, the unified virtual fabric in the campus as part of Agile Campus. Wi-Fi products, we have different portfolio of Wi-Fi products from an indoor, from an external. We also, I like to point out here something for the 3 radio access points. You can actually configure the radios into a 2.5 gig or 5 gig configuration there. As you start moving into the 802.11 AC Wave 2, most of these products are Wave 2 compliant actually. And I did touch a little bit on the 10 gig access point in the couple of slides earlier. We will be shipping our 10 gig access point in the first calendar quarter next year. So as I said, 4K videos, AR, VR applications, machine-to-machine learning, you need a high speed. It's not just about the speed, but also the capacity, which is the salient point of 802.11ax, and that's what these products on the Wi-Fi brings to you in the Agile Campus. Let's look at the new products we're going to be launching in November. This actually just a month away. So you're going to get a 2.5 gig access point, both IoT and the wireless converged together. They're going to come with the smart antennas built into. They also have the dual PoE power supply for backup, a tremendous advantage given the feedback we had from our customers in the past. Talked about the triple radio, but this triple radio AP is going to be Wave 2 compliant, and then you have the standard outdoor APs with the PoE out actually, so you can actually connect them in tandem together, providing you the power supply. Again, you can see here some of the competitiveness of the Huawei's WLAN products there. You can see Huawei brings you that IoT convergence, which the competition doesn't have it. Our smart antenna, that's one of the Huawei's innovation, competition doesn't have it. So all those features really make a very solid case where as you start looking into the next generation network, as you start looking into this programmable network using the Agile Campus. Let's look at the success stories here. This is a retail case study coming from Italy. They are using the Agile Campus there. You can see the problem there, number of independent stores, different business campuses, different shopping mall. They really want to bring a consistent experience, and that's exactly what the Agile Campus did for them. They really wanted to run some promotions and campaigns using Agile Campus. We have partnership in retail with some of the other partners, really marrying our Agile Campus with their application, bringing the experience and bringing the additional revenue stream, the customer loyalty, the stickiness from a retailer point of view. This is the example in Netherlands. They have 2 problems. The 2 requirements they have. First was the efficiency and save cost. Second one was being transparent, really increasing, changing from a manual to as much automated as possible. And you can see here what the government IT director said there. And I like to really kind of point out here, high expertise for Huawei, rich experience, and let them deploy the services much more quickly and faster with the Agile Campus. This is the MCL Hospital in Netherlands. Agile Campus being used in the healthcare. Look at the amount of savings on the right hand side here, from a planning to the deployment to the maintenance. Again, as I said here, it's the service deployment, how quickly you can apply the new services, which used to take weeks and months, can be done in hours and days using the Agile Campus here. So you can see here amount of savings that MCL has actually done using the Agile Campus from Huawei. Hope it gives you some idea of the different benefits that we bring to our customers using the Agile Campus. Now we would like to talk about the Agile Demo Box. The whole idea of this Agile Demo Box, which is targeted towards our partners, towards our salespeople. Really, we can show you the whole feature set into this small demo box that can be wheeled actually at the customer location. They don't even have to come to the Huawei lab or Huawei office to really see the whole Agile Campus in action. So let's look at the demo box, and then it will be followed by the open discussions and Q&A that you can submit your questions online. Okay, now we actually would like to show you our Agile Campus demo box. And here are the three main things from an Agile Campus demo box. Really, the design of the demo box is so easy actually. You can carry it, you can push it, you can get to the customer site in a very easy manner. The design is very compact, easy transportation here. But let me actually show you in real way how it looks like.
Hi everybody, my name is Yuri. I will cooperate with the agent to show the demo to us.
Alright, let's show you what's inside the demo box actually. Yuri, can we? Let's do it.
Okay, let's open it.
Let's open. Oh wow, I see some boxes here. What are those boxes?
In this box, we will have two access points. The first is the indoor access point, and the second is the distributor access point. Okay.
So this is the indoor or outdoors?
This is indoor with two access points.
Wave 2 indoor access point.
Yeah, and it has connected to the Agile Campus, and it can be showed directly.
Alright, that's very neat. We have the two access points here, and I see some boxes here too.
This is our distributed solution, and this is the central access point, and there is two RU, and this RU we can support with two.
So remember we talked about the Agile distributed here. So Yuri, this is the central access point, and these are the two radio units.
Yes.
In the one box, very compact.
Yeah.
Let's see where the switches are. I don't see the switches. Are they inside this box?
Yeah, switches. Yeah. The first switch is our Agile switch. It can be act like a spare parent, and the second two switch is the access switch, and it will be connected to our access point.
Where is the power supply? I don't see the power supply. Oh, I see. The power supply is at the back of this box. Really shows you how easy it is to carry. You have your Wi-Fi equipment, you have your switches, power at the back. So pretty much a network, the whole campus that we can carry to our customers here. So, okay, so this is the network diagram of this demo box. So Yuri, you didn't talk about the eSite controller. Where is it? Is it part of the box, or is it customer has to deploy it separately?
Actually, we have to think about it. The eSite and the controller we have installed in this computer and in the Agile demo box.
Oh, that's very interesting. So the eSite controller comes within the demo box. All right, and there are a couple of scenarios. So what scenarios in the campus are we talking here? I see 2 buildings, dormitories. So what are the different scenarios here, Yuri?
Okay, you can see there is two types of access point. The first is a distributed Wi-Fi solution. It will be used in the high density room like a hotel, like a dormitory. And the second is indoor access point. It will be used in enterprise office. And then you will find there is access switch and exit point. We will show the wide and wireless convergence solution in the demo box.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, the different features of Agile Campus that we talked earlier can all be shown in this demo box. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, very good. I'm carrying a campus in a box here. So the value proposition, as it's what this demo box brings to the table for our partners, for our SIs, for our integrators, to really understand the complete Agile Campus solution. The idea here is that customers can see all the features of Agile Campus on their own premise actually. So it's very useful in scenarios like exhibitions, workshops, talking to customers. Some of the POC tests even can be done in this compact design here. So different features that Yuri told us, whether it's a wired and wireless convergence, the super virtual fabric, some of the even IPCA capabilities can all be shown along with the free mobility, etc.
Yeah.
So a great asset for our partners to really show the value of our Agile Campus. Hope it gives you some idea. So professional design, easy operation, very easy to show to our customers. I hope you can leverage this thing again. Please talk to your regional salespersons to really help you get this demo box. So hopefully it gives you some idea of the power of the Huawei's Agile demo box. The whole campus into a single or 2 boxes here, from the Wi-Fi equipment to the campus switches. Now we're gonna follow it up with the questions and answers for the webinar. So let's look at the questions that have come during the webinar, and we'll try to answer as many questions as possible within the time possible. Thank you.